Hello, and welcome to Nerves of the Brachial Plexus. The nerves of the brachial plexus are best studied according to their region of origin. We may use the boundaries of the cords to divide the nerves of the brachial plexus into three groups. First, the proximal group, then the middle group, and lastly, the distal group. First, the proximal group consists of 6 nerves. The most proximal nerve of this group is made of presynaptic sympathetic fibers arising from the first thoracic ventral ramus, and after a brief trajectory in this ramus, divides into a caudal branch and a rostral branch. The caudal branch makes contact with the inferior cervical ganglion. Postsynaptic fibers from this ganglion rejoin the brachial plexus at multiple levels to provide sympathetic innervation of the arm. The rostral branch ascends to reach the 5th cervical ganglion. Postsynaptic fibers from this ganglion also rejoin the brachial plexus, providing further sympathetic innervation of the upper limb. But not all of the ascending presynaptic sympathetic fibers terminate in the 5th cervical ganglion. Those fibers that do not terminate in the 5th cervical ganglion instead terminate at the superior cervical ganglion. From the superior cervical ganglion, postsynaptic sympathetic fibers arise to innervate the muscle of Mueller, the pupillary dilator muscle, and the ipsilateral half of the face. The second proximal brachial plexus nerve arises from the 5th cervical ventral ramus. It contributes to the formation of the phrenic nerve by joining fibers from the 3rd and 4th cervical ventral rami. Remember, C3, C4, and C5 keep the diaphragm alive. The third proximal brachial plexus nerve is the long thoracic nerve. The long thoracic nerve innervates the serratus anterior muscle. A mnemonic I use to remember the muscle innervated by the long thoracic nerve is SALT. The S is for serratus, the A is for anterior, and the L and T are for the long thoracic nerve. The fourth proximal brachial plexus nerve is the dorsal scapular nerve. This nerve innervates the rhomboids. The fifth member of the proximal brachial plexus nerve group is the suprascapular nerve. It innervates the supraspinatus muscle and the infraspinatus muscle. The sixth and last member of the proximal brachial plexus nerve group is the subclavicular nerve. Now, we will describe the nerves arising from the cords. They constitute the middle brachial plexus nerve group. 7 nerves arise from this segment of the brachial plexus. The one nerve arising from the lateral cord is called the lateral pectoral nerve. This nerve innervates the pectoralis minor and part of the pectoralis major. 3 nerves arise from the posterior cord. One of them is the upper subscapular nerve. This nerve innervates part of the subscapular muscle. Another is the thoracodorsal nerve. This nerve innervates the latissimus dorsal muscle. The last nerve arising from the posterior cord is the lower subscapular nerve. This nerve innervates the part of the subscapular muscle not innervated by the upper subscapular nerve, and the teres major. The rest of the middle brachial plexus nerve group arises from the medial cord. This includes the medial pectoral nerve that supplies the pectoralis major muscle, the medial cutaneous nerve of the arm that innervates a small area of the medial lower arm, and the medial cutaneous nerve of the forearm that innervates the distal medial region of the arm and forearm. The last group of brachial plexus nerves, the distal group, consists of 5 nerves. From the posterolateral branch of the posterior cord arises the axillary nerve. This nerve provides sensory innervation to the cutaneous region above the deltoid and motor innervation to the deltoid and teres minor. From the posteromedial branch of the posterior cord arises the radial nerve. Use this phrase to remember the muscles innervated by the radial nerve. The radial nerve keeps tabs on the extensors. All muscles of the arm called extensors are innervated by the radial nerve. The mnemonic tabs is used to remind us of those muscles that are not named extensors but are still innervated by the radial nerve. The T in tabs is for triceps, the A for anconeus and abductor pollicis longus, the B for brachioradialis, and the S for supinator. In addition to motor branches, the radial nerve also has sensory cutaneous branches. The superficial and digital branches of the radial nerve innervate the dorsal-radial aspect of the hand and a small area of the palmar radial aspect of the thumb. The posterior cutaneous nerve of the forearm innervates a long strip of skin in the dorsal aspect of the upper limb, from the lower arm to the wrist. The inferior lateral cutaneous nerve of the arm innervates a small area of the anterior lateral region of the lower arm. And the posterior cutaneous nerve of the arm innervates a small area in the dorsal region of the upper arm. The lateral branch of the lateral cord becomes the musculocutaneous nerve. The muscles innervated by the musculocutaneous nerve can be memorized using the acronym for the British Broadcasting Company, BBC. The B stands for biceps brachialis, the second B stands for brachialis, and the C for coracobrachialis. The musculocutaneous nerve, through the lateral cutaneous nerve of the forearm, also provides sensory innervation to the cutaneous region of the external forearm. The lateral-medial branch of the lateral cord and the medial-lateral branch of the medial cord join to form the median nerve. The median nerve innervates forearm and hand muscles. In the forearm, the median nerve innervates all muscles starting with the letters P or F, with two exceptions. The exceptions are the flexor carpi ulnaris and the segment of the flexor digitorum profundus to the fourth and fifth fingers. In the hand, the median nerve innervates the loaf thenar muscles. In using the loaf mnemonic, L stands for the first and second lumbricals, the O for opponent pollicis, the A for abductor pollicis brevis, and the F for the superficial portion of the flexor pollicis brevis. The median nerve also provides cutaneous sensory innervation through its lateral fascicle. The palmar median nerve branch innervates the proximal palmar thenar region, while the digital median nerve branches innervate a wide area of the hand. This includes both palmar and dorsal areas. In the palmar area, the distal thenar region, the thumb, the entire second and third fingers, and the radial half of the fourth finger. In the dorsal area, only the distal-most region of the same three fingers. Continuing with the distal brachial plexus nerve group, the medial branch of the medial cord becomes the ulnar nerve. In the forearm, the ulnar nerve innervates the two forearm muscles not innervated by the median nerve. These are the flexor carpi ulnaris and the segment of the flexor digitorum profundus to the fourth and fifth fingers. In the hand, the ulnar nerve innervates all muscles except the thenar loaf muscles. The ulnar nerve also provides sensory cutaneous innervation via three distal branches. The palmar branch of the ulnar nerve innervates the ulnar distal-most forearm region and the ulnar proximal palmar region. The cutaneous area innervated by the palmar digital branch has a peculiar distribution. In the palmar aspect of the hand, it innervates the distal ulnar region, the entire fifth finger, and the ulnar half of the fourth finger. In the dorsal aspect, it only innervates the distal-most areas of the same fingers. In the third distal branch, named the dorsal branch of the ulnar nerve, innervates the dorsal area of the ulnar side of the hand, the proximal fifth finger, and the proximal ulnar side of the fourth finger. Please pause and rewind the video to review the drawings of the sensory innervations of the ulnar nerve in the last 3 slides, if necessary. This concludes the nerves of the brachial plexus. Thank you very much.